actually. So let's start with a very familiar lift and roll the shoulders, press the feet down. Breathing in, turn the head to the left. And breathing out, turn the head to the right. Into the left. And out to the right. And come to the centre. And breathing in, raise the right arm, stretch up and just slide the left hand down the outer left thigh, chin to chest. Breathe in, stretch up, and as you breathe out, lower the right arm. And then breathing in, raise the left arm, stretch it up. Breathe out, just come to the right, using your right hand against the right thigh, chin to chest. Stretch. And then lower the left arm as you come upright. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then we're going to come to the top of the mat and do Salute the Suns, which should warm us up, but there will be a number of versions and varieties. So coming to the top of the mat with your feet comfortably, perhaps hip width apart. If you're being very classic, you might have them closer. Lift and roll the shoulders, hands together at the heart centre. Breathing in, soften the knees and circle the arms up, stretch up, palms together, and then come back down through the heart centre as you bend your knees. You can slide your hands down the shins if that helps, and come to bring your hands to either side of your feet. Bend your knees as much as you need to have your hands on the ground, and step or slide back with your right foot. Stay with the right foot stretched back and just enjoy the stretch at the hip level. And then for a moment we're going to slide the left foot back and come into plank. Heels up. And then come to kneel on the mat. And then come to untuck the toes, place the elbows on the ground and slide forward into Sphinx pose. You're looking down at the mat. Press the elbows into the mat and just slightly pull yourself forward. Take an in and an out breath here. And then lower right down onto your front and slide your hands in front of you. Stretching out. Tuck the right toes under and extend the right leg back, lifting the right heel and release and relax the right leg. And then do the same for the left. Tuck the left toes under, extend the left leg back and release back down to the ground. And then slide the hands back to where they were, coming onto your elbows. Bring the elbows in, and then using your body weight on your elbows, on your forearms, to lift up your bottom and then walk your knees to come into a comfortable position to come back into tabletop. Just dipping your back, looking up, if your neck will take that, and then breathing out round the back, chin to chest, and tucking the toes. Come into a downward dog. Lengthen the back, and then begin to lengthen the backs of the legs, but you can still keep a bend there. And begin to walk the dog. Your feet can be wider than hip width apart, particularly if you've got a lower back issue. And also you've got the option of bringing your feet slightly closer to your hands, again as an option to make the pose slightly softer. But as you're walking the dog, you can sway your hips from side to side. And then eventually just extend both legs back. You don't have to keep your knees straight, they can still be bent. And then really bend both knees back down onto the mat. And the hands move to the left to give space for the right foot to come up. Kneel up. If your balance is off, then move your right foot out to the edge of the mat and just open your palms, looking forwards or up, a kind of homage to the moon. And then head upright to breathe in, to raise the arms up and to stretch. You can almost go back in a crescent moon, again lifting your chin mindfully if that works for you, if not, look straight ahead. And then breathing out, come upright with the head and carry on breathing out, or take another breath if you need to come forward to place the hands to either side of the right foot. Just stretch into the right knee. You can go beyond the 90 degrees just to get that stretch into the right hip. Come back with the knee to 90 degrees. And then tuck your left toes, tummy in to lift the back of the left knee and step the left foot to the right, hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathing out, soften in. Breathe in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. When you next breathe in, soften the knees, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And breathing in, raising the arms up, stretch the fingers, and then just lower the hands. And lift and roll the shoulders. Breathing in and breathing out, palms together at the heart center as we come to the left side. Soften the knees and circle up, stretch up. Bring the hands through the center as you bend the knees and come to place the hands to either side of both feet and then slide the left foot back, stretch out. Just stay here as the whole of the spine is stretched, the back of the neck is long. And then let the right foot joints into a plank. And if you're feeling very energetic, you can either bring your both knees to the ground or come down to the earth in a straight line, chaturanga, which is quite strong. Choice is yours. And then just here, stretch the arms out. And just roll to the right, so that you're lifting your left hip off the ground. Your head might go onto the extended inner right arm. Come to the centre and slightly roll to the left. And then come to the centre. And then just slide your hands in back to perhaps Sphinx pose. Just enjoy that Sphinx looking down, and then slide your hands back further, elbows into the body, press down on the hands. Come to tabletop and make any adjustments to feel that you're in tabletop that's comfortable. Breathing in, dipping the back, looking up or along the mat if your neck's not great, and breathing out, rounding the back, chin to chest. And again, as we breathe in, dipping the back, looking up, and as we round the back, chin to chest, tuck the toes, and come into your downward dog. Walking the dog, the thumb and second finger are engaged on the mat. The inner elbows are facing one another to secure the arms in the shoulders for alignment and strength. And then both legs go back, your dog, and then bend both knees back down to the earth. And this time move the hands to the right to bring the left foot up, hands to either side of the left foot, just come forward, stretching out the left hip. Bring the left knee back to 90 degrees, tuck the right toes, lift up and then step your right foot to your left, hands onto the shins, half lift, breathing out, soften in, half lift, stay here as you breathe out, and then breathing in, roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Hands up, stretch your fingers, and then breathing out, lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. And again, hands together at the heart center. Breathing in, hands up. Breathing out, hands down to either side.
Step back with your right foot and left foot in a plank. Either bring both knees to the ground or come down in chaturanga, whichever works for you. And keep your hands in the position that they are. Elbows in and come to just lifting up the semi-cobra. Breathing out, lower the head to the ground. And then as you next breathe in, press the hands down, come up to kneeling. Make any adjustments with your hands and knees if you need to as we come into cat. And just rounding the cat-cow movement. Breathing in, dipping the back. And breathing out, tucking the toes and coming into your downward dog. Feel free to make any adjustments. And you can walk the dog again, or if you prefer a more static dog, then just stay here for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, bend both knees back down to the earth, hands to the left. Right foot comes up, hands either side of the right foot. And then lift the left knee by tucking the left toes. And just bring the left foot slightly inwards towards the right, you're in pyramid pose. So you're stretching the right leg. The aim is to extend the right leg, that might not happen. Lengthen the spine and then just release over. Take an in and an out breath. And then soften both knees and step the left foot to the right, hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathing out, tuck in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. Breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to sternum. And then just stretch the hands up, extend the fingers, thumb behind, little finger in front, and lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders, clasp the hands behind you, aim the knuckles to the ground. Looking forward, or again you can lift up with mindful movement. But to go any further, bring the head upright, release the hands, and slide them down the backs of the legs as you bend your knees, hands to the ground. Step back with your left foot, and then your right foot in the plank again. And choose whether you come to the ground by your knees or chaturanga. Coming straight down to the ground. Press the hands down. Come into a mini cobra as you softly lift up, and then breathing out, lower the head back down to the ground. Elbows in. Press the hands down, come to kneeling, and then tuck the toes and come straight down to downward dog and feel that you can adjust your hands and feet if you need to. Walking the dog. Maybe swaying from side to side. Now this time walk the feet to the hands, maybe the hands a little bit to the feet. You can bend your knees while you're doing that. And then just soften your knees, hands onto the shins again, half lift. Breathing out, curl in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. And then breathing in. Soften the knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then breathing in, hands up. And breathing out, lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. Hands together at the heart centre. This time we'll go a little bit faster, one breath per movement. Ish. Breathing in, hands up, stretch, palms together. Come through the centre as you breathe out. Just have your hands directly to the floor. Step back. Right foot, left foot and plank. Come to either the knees or chaturanga onto your front. Breathing in, come up in either Sphinx or Mini Cobra. Breathing out, lower the head to the ground. This time slide the hands back, elbows in as you breathe in, press your hands down, come back to kneeling. And then tuck your toes, tummy in. You might want to move your hands, legs to come into downward dog. Take a recovery couple of breaths here. You can walk the dog if you need to. And then both knees to the ground, hands to the left, right foot up. Kneel up
And open the palms, looking upwards. Come upright. Just turn to the right. Right hand on the waist, left hand on the outside right thigh. Turn to look over the right shoulder. Take in and an out breath. Come back to the centre. Hands to either side of the right foot. Tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and step the left foot to the right foot. Hands on shins as you breathe in, half lift. Breathing out, soften in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Hands up, look up or look ahead. Breathing out, lower the hands. And then lift and roll the shoulders. Clasp the hands behind you, opening the shoulders, either looking up or looking ahead. But either way, to carry on, looking straight ahead. Separate the hands, slide the hands down, back to the legs, bend the knees. Hands onto the ground and step back, left foot and then right foot into plank. Come, choose whether you bend your knees to come down or whether you come down chaturanga. Come into Sphinx, elbows on the ground. Look down, taking it in and an out breath. This time just widen your elbows and come to rest your head on your backs of the hands. You can turn the head to the side or look straight down. Widen the knees, bend the at the knees, feet, soles of the feet to the ceiling, and just gently sway from side to side. And then lower the legs to the ground. Just bring the knees together. Slide the hands back, elbows up, press the palms down, come back to kneeling. Make adjustments to come to tabletop as you dip the back, looking up or along the mat according to your neck, breathing out round the back. And again, dipping the back. Next time we round, we're going to tuck the toes and come into downward dog, walking the dog. Stretch both legs back and then bend both knees back down to the earth. Move the hands to the right and your left foot comes up. Come to kneel up, open the palms, looking up or straight ahead. Look straight ahead to carry on, to turn to the left. Left hand on the waist, right hand on the outer left thigh. Look over the left shoulder. And then come back to centre, lengthen by leading by the chest and come to place your hands to either side of your left foot. Tuck the right toes, tummy in, go to perineum, lift the right knee, step the right foot to the left, hands onto the shins, breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, roll in. Breathing in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And then subtly bend your knees, press your feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Arms up, stretch your hands. And then just circle the hands down. And just lift and roll the shoulders. Come to standing. And to recover the breath, breathing in, hands out and back. Hands down and away and back. Really elbows lift as you open and then release. So almost curl the hands up to gather in, push the hands away, breathing in as you bring the elbows back, stretching the chest and lower. Again, scoop up and in, stretch out, breathe back in, stretch and lower. Breathing out, hands away, come back in and lower. Breathing in, head to the left, breathing out, head to the right. Just a couple of times to your own breath pattern, in to the left and out to the right, and in to the left and out to the right. Come to the centre and then stepping your feet a comfortable, I would say 3 feet, but that's going to depend, comfortable width apart. Lift and roll the shoulders. We're going to do a modified triangle. Turn your left foot in, your right foot out. There should be an imaginary line from your front right heel that would intersect the middle of your back right, the middle of your back left arch, if that imagination was there. Left hand, so yes, front right heel, if you drew a line straight, should intersect the middle of the back left arch. Left hand on the waist, right hand up. Just subtly bend backwards to come forwards, stretching towards the other side of the room, and then tummy in as you come to bring your hand on the shin and open out with your left shoulder, sliding your right hand down your right shin. Feel, this is difficult to explain, but feel that both sides of your body are lengthening, that's difficult. And your body, your back, should mirror that imaginary line on the floor, which is even more difficult. You can either look down at the mat, or you can look forward, or you can actually look up. If you look up, your chin should be into the chest. And then once you're settled here, you feel that your back is lengthened, you can either stay with your hand on your waist, or if you want to raise your hand up, feel that you can do into proper triangle. I'm going to put my hand onto the waist and I'm going to opt to look down to save my neck, which allows me to stretch the sides of my body a little bit more. So triangle is very helpful to stretch the side of the body in a lateral stretch, but the key is not for your your left shoulder to be facing down, it needs to be open. And then take a couple of breaths in and out. And to come out, soften the front knee. If you're looking up, look down. Press your front foot down, but also put the weight evenly on your back. Slide your hand up. And then come to turn your right foot in, hands on the waist, and then turn the right foot in, left foot out as a reverse. Right hand stays on the waist, left hand goes out. Come backwards to go forwards over your extended left shin. Come to open out to the right. Slide your hand down. You can look downwards, straight ahead or up. If you look up, check that your chin is tucked in. And you can stay like this, but if you want to go into full triangle and raise your arm up, then you're very welcome to do so. The right arm and left arm should be in line with one another, which I find quite challenging. Challenging in order that my right hip doesn't flop down. You've got to keep your right hip open. So I'm going to put my right hand on my right waist to keep that openness. Feel that you're lengthening again along your sides and that your body mirrors that imaginary line on the ground. It's like you hit the sail, that you're lengthening. The head, to the crown of the head, faces almost is an extension of the spine, it doesn't drop down, it lengthens, but you can look down at the ground. Take an in and an out breath. And then to come out, soften your front left knee by bending it, pressing your feet evenly on the ground to come up, hands on the waist. Turn your left foot in, lift and roll your shoulders, holding your waist and aim your elbows backwards. Look up, soften your knees, lead with the chest to come forward, and then come to bring your hands to the ground. Once your hands are to the ground, you can widen your feet if you want to, your heels out slightly, and soften your elbows. They're compensating for that twisting, relaxing forwards. The head and neck should be relaxed. And you can, if you want to, move your hands, turn them around and move them away from you through your gap. Stretches out one way. Take an in and an out breath. And then you can turn the hands around and look them forwards, and almost like a very wide downward dog, stretching the other way, tummy in. And then slide your hands back to the original position and heel toe your feet in, so turn your toes in and your heels to a point where you feel that you're comfortable. And then when you're comfortable, your feet might be hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Soften your knees, press your feet down, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Lift and roll shoulders. And then come to a very familiar swaying from side to side. And come to slow that down. And come to a standstill. Lift and roll the shoulders. Just place the hands on the waist, testing balance. You're much better than me. And lifting the heels, that is. And then just lower the heels, soften the knees. Hands together. We're going to come down to lying on the mat. In Shavasana, ostensibly, we've moved a lot, and this former traditional yoga invites rest before moving on. So just come to lying on the ground and coming to relax the feet out. You can have your palms upwards in traditional Shavasana, or if you want them palms down or resting on your abdomen, that's fine. But then come to extend both toes up to the ceiling and subtly point both toes away. And just repeat that a couple of times, coordinating your movement with your breath, breathing in as the toes go up and breathing out as the toes go away. And then begin to circle in one direction. Circle your ankles. And then very gently begin to circle the ankles in the opposite direction. And then just swish the feet, both feet to the left and through to the right, left, right, a couple of times as if you're moving the feet in a subtly different direction. And then just release the feet, let the feet drop out to the side. And then just very gently turn the head to one direction. And then let the head be heavy on the mat as you roll it back to the centre, and then carry on moving it to the opposite direction. And then just a couple of times to either side. Bring the head back to the centre, and then bend both knees so that both feet are one at a time, but both knees are up to the ceiling, both feet are on the ground about hip width apart. And just a couple of pelvic tilts, mobilising the spine at the lower level. And then come to just very gently sway both knees from side to side. And if you feel that you'd like your feet to be wider than hip width apart, then that's fine. Move them towards the edge of the mat as they gently sway from side to side. The head might move as well, heavy on the mat. And then come to the centre. And then hug one knee into the chest. Drop your hands under the thighs and extend that leg. I've done my left leg, left leg upwards, and extend the heel. And then just walk your hands up the back of the leg. When you've reached your limit, you can stay there, or you can drop one hand underneath your head to support your head and neck, and as you breathe out, lift the head upwards towards your extended leg, and then release the head back down to the earth, release the hand, and then use both hands to support the knee as you hug it into the chest. Just circle the knee a couple of times in one direction, and then a couple of times in the opposite direction. And then supporting that leg to place that foot back down onto the ground. Palms down, and so you just very gently sway slightly from side to side. Bring the knees back to the centre. Make any adjustments with your feet to feel comfortable as you hug the other knee, that's going to be my right knee, in towards the chest. Drop your hands underneath the thigh and extend that leg upwards, extend the heel. And then walk the hands up the back of that leg, bringing the leg slightly towards you. Stop when it feels that you've gone far enough, and you have the option to drop a hand behind and underneath the head, supporting the head and neck. As you breathe out, lift your head and neck upwards towards that leg. Relax back down onto the earth, and when your head's connected to the earth, just remove the hand, and then slide the hands down the back of the leg, hugging the knee into the chest again. And before we place it on the floor, just circling the knee a few times in one direction. And then a few times in the opposite direction. And then keeping the right knee hugged in, or that knee hugged in, let the other knee join it, so both knees are hugged into the chest. Your knees can be slightly wider if that's more comfortable, and just rock very gently from side to side. Back of the head's on the ground. You might want to rock right over onto one side, or just rock a little bit. And then come to the centre, Supporting the right leg, let it just float down to the earth. You're still holding your left knee in towards you. And we're going to come to half happy baby. So you can, yogically, you hold your foot so that your fingers go on the outside of the foot. That's harder. You can be slightly non-yoga and hold the foot on the outside and the knee bends down. So choose whichever version works for you. And your right hand can rest on the waist, or you can use both hands to hold your foot. The knee aims to the ground. You can move the knee out to the left slightly to give yourself a little bit more space. Just taking it in and an out breath. If you've got very long arms, if you haven't, just hold anywhere on your leg or stay in happy baby. You can take your fingers around your big toe and just stretch your left leg out and to the left. But as I said, if you haven't, just hold your left leg with both hands to support that stretch. You don't have to hold your big toe. And then hug the left knee into the chest. And just open the left knee to the left ankle on the right thigh, palms down, as you just sway both knees from side to side. Hug the left knee into the chest, place the foot on the floor, and bring your attention now to the right as you hug the right knee into the chest. Half happy baby on the right side, choosing what suits you. Opening the right thigh. You can slightly rock from side to side if you want a focus. And then very gently release that stretch, hugging the right knee into the chest and opening it to the right, placing the right ankle on top of the left thigh, palms down, as you gently sway from side to side. And then hugging both knees back into the chest. And we're very familiar, both knees into the chest as you breathe out. Hold both knees still as they drift to arm's length. And just a few times to your own breath pattern, massaging around the lower back area, using body weight to provide the massage. Just enjoy a couple more times. And then we're going to think about rolling over to the side and coming back onto our hands and knees and tabletop. So in your own time, roll. If you've got space, then roll to the right, away from the heart. If not, then don't worry. Take your time to gently come up to seated, and then just come in your own time to kneeling. And just sway the bottom from side to side. Come back to the centre. And then slide the hands to the knees, to the thighs, kneel up, raise the hands up, looking either up or straight ahead, breathing out, lower the hands, come to place the hands on the floor, dip the back in cat, or cat-cow, round the back, bring the bottom towards the heels,
stretching out with the arms. Come to tabletop again, and then once more slide the hands towards the knees.
Hands up. I'm looking forward or up. Breathing out. Lower the hands back down to the earth. Slide them slightly forward to tabletop, dipping the back. Looking up, rounding the back, bringing the bottom towards the heels, stretching out. And then breathing in, coming back to tabletop. Slide the hands towards you, kneel up, hands up. Breathing out, lower the hands back down to the earth. Slide them along, dip the back, look up, round the back, stretch out. And then last time, slide the hands to the knees, kneel up. Hands up. Almost go backwards if you can. Come to upright as you breathe out, lowering the hands back down to the earth. Dipping the back, looking up, rounding the back, bringing the bottom to the heels, stretch out here. Breathe in and an out breath. And then bend the elbows and make two fists and rest your forehead on your fists. And you might want to lift your bottom slightly to do that. We're activating the third eye. You can sway your bottom a little bit from side to side. And then to activate the crown, gently remove the hands, place them to either side of you, maybe elbows in. And this is optional, by the way. Just using your weight of your body and supported on your elbows, your forearms. Just place your head on the ground. You might want to slide your hands a little bit, elbows up. Just gently roll your head. There should be no weight, particularly on the skull, because your body and your hands are taking all the weight, reducing any neck compression, but this is optional. So you're activating the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra point. And then just release back to your version of child's pose. Your hands can be stretched ahead, or you can be very classic in child's pose and have your palms up. Take a couple of breaths here to relax. And then very gently come to a seated position of your choice. It can be cross-legged, can be using a bolster. And we're going to finish with a very simple breath work. It's preparation for alternate nostril breathing, or Nadi Shodhana. And in classic yoga, they use this for months before actually doing Nadi Shodhana. So I'm not going to be precise about the position of the fingers, but in Nadi Shodhana you only use the right hand. So you can stick to tradition and just block the right nostril with the right thumb. Left hand rests in the lap. Or you can use whatever hand. And you breathe, start with only in and out through the left side for a few breaths, as if only the left side exists. If you're bunged up in your nose, then just loosen the right thumb a little bit. And then release your thumb from your right nostril and use your ring finger. Again, I would say of the right hand, but if you want to use the other hand, that's fine. You just very gently block your left nostril, and you block it at the point before the nostril flares out. It's a very light block. So that now you're only breathing through your right nostril. Throughout the day, one nostril or the other becomes dominant. So you might find that you're becoming aware that one side is easier than the other. And if you did the same exercise in an hour's time, it might be totally different. Only the right side exists now. And then just release the right hand totally back to the lap. And notice now the breath through both nostrils, and if your breath feels any different. The breath should be smooth and an awareness of cool breath as you breathe in, and then slightly warmer as the breath leaves the nostrils. And now just bring your focus to your third eye and imagine for a couple of breaths breathing in and out through the third eye. The third eye is around the pineal, also links to the pituitary, often where we might see colours, or we might not. It links to part of our metabolic control. It links to our intuition. And then just let that breath go, and now take a bow for yourself. Have a wish for somebody or yourself for the day. And then let that wish dissipate. It's the intention's been set. And then just take your hands to your heart, chin to chest. And then hands to the forehead, kind thoughts, to lips, kind words, and back to the heart, kind deeds. Have a very lovely day.